Okay.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Are you weird?
No.
No, I mean in general.
No, good.
Not just right now.
Totally fine.
In general. Is the general consensus about
Yeah.
Nick Gunning he's weird?
No.
Okay. You're acting weird.
No.
What's going on? Oh, jeez. Nick, why are there so many... I guess we'll talk about it when we start talking about the podcast, but you got a lot of Robins.
Okay.
A lot of Batman and Robin action here.
Yeah, I do.
So, okay.
Okay.
Boy, let's do this then,
Let's do
since
it.
we both have high energy.
I'm ready. You
I
think-
can't.
No, I'm good.
I actually... Maybe we need to get you a containment suit. Like
I will be fine.
like an XMen who has electrical powers,
No.
but their own bioelectricity is out of control.
What if we just started this thing?
That is an X-Men. Surge. She's one of the New Mutants from the second run of New Mutants.
Surge, like the
90s
high
energy.
calorie. Yeah.
Man, that soda drink could cause mutation.
Yeah, that'll put you in a coma. No question. No question.
Yeah, me and my friends used to drink Surge and stay up watching South Park and playing StarCraft and or Counter-Strike. And I wasn't good at either of those games, but the Surge, it didn't matter with the
Wow.
Surge.
And you say you didn't start dating until you were 19. Wow.
Hey,
Well, yeah.
thanks for remembering that, though.
Yeah.
It was, in fact, 19.
I know.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
It's fine. I was a late bloomer,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's even more beautiful.
Listen, I think I was 17 when I had
Oh.
my first girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I beat you by a little bit, but still.
Would you rather
Same.
have a garden full of flowers that bloom right as the sun
Yeah.
comes out and then they're dead,
Uh-huh.
or later
Yeah.
than they bloom and they
bloom- the
maybe
bloom
hang
then
out a little
dead.
bit too long?
The bloom then dead, I think.
Okay, sure. Because then you could just be like,
Yeah.
I'm done
There
gardening.
you go.
Okay.
All right.
Let's record this podcast.
Let's do it.
195. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's great.
What?
We're close to close to 200.
You okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm fine. Totally
Yeah,
fine.
that's great. I don't know.
Okay.
I got to clip that. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Welcome to episode 195 of the All the Books Show, recorded at the David A. Howe Public Library, where we talk book news, author news, and literary news. Once in a while, we talk about Batman. I don't know how it happens.
Yeah.
He's omnipresent,
Every
so
now and then.
we have to talk about it when
Every
it's
now and
the
then
opportune
we do.
time.
Yep.
So,
How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm good as well.
Okay, I'm glad.
All right. We've got. Did we already introduce ourselves?
I'm Eric Mickles.
I'm Nick Gunning.
Nick is the one who's doing great.
Yeah, doing great. Anyway, we've got two major topics today. We're going to be talking about the Nebula Awards, which were announced over the weekend. So we got a little scoop on that. Eric and I have read a few things on there. And we're also going to be talking about the Batman film series from the late 80s to late 90s.
But why?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
We're celebrating the 80th year of Batman in
got the
existence.
things out for when we have our anniversaries.
That's true. 80 years of Batman, and also all four movies were released in 4K in theaters in the last couple of weeks. Eric and I made 4 round trips to either Rochester or Buffalo. Saw all of the original movies in theaters on the big screen. It worked for some. It did not work for others. So we're going to talk about Nebulas and Batman again. We do a deep dive on Batman way back early in the episodes here. Episode 30, Batman v. All the Books.
Which
We
was then
did a
followed by
special-
Superman v. All the Books?
No.
it was Superman started
all
it.
the books v Superman.
I got confused.
Anyway, so if you want to take a listen to those episodes, there, episode 30 is Batman v. All the Books. You can find all the old episodes.
Was it only episode 30?
Yeah, at soundcloud.com/allthebooks, and of course anywhere you find podcasts, you can find it as well there.
Yeah.
While you're at it, give us a review. Not based on what's happening right now, but based on when things are good.
In general, review us.
All right. So let's start by taking a look at the old bookmarks, seeing where we are, what we've been reading, what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first, my good man?
Yeah, mine's going
it
to also
away.
be quick.
Okay.
Remember last week I hadn't read that much?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
History has repeated itself.
Oh, my.
What?
Yeah.
Huh. All right, well, I guess I'm reading Neuromancer.
Okay.
We talked about how
William
we're doing
Gibson's Neuromancer. Yes.
Neuromancer for a book club we're doing here, our science fiction book club. And I had read this already back in like 2012, and I didn't like it. And I'm reading it now, and I'm liking it.
That's good.
And I'm not confused like I was last time. And here's the problem. I think I was getting a little bored when I first read it, so I started skimming it a little bit too early.
Yeah.
And you can't skim this book.
No, it's very dense. That's true.
His descriptions are very, I guess, unique. Not necessarily something I'm a fan of, but if you start skimming them, you're just not going to know what's going on or where you are, because this is supposed to be like a near future situation. I mean, they're in space, right? I did not know they had gone to space when I first read this book.
That's funny.
But about the whole middle section is in space. So that shows you what kind of reader I was many years ago. But I am enjoying it this time. It's fun. It's cool. I'm looking forward to getting to the end of it and be like, there, now I've officially read Neuromancer by William Gibson. What else? I'm reading what technically counts as Essential X-Men Volume 7 in terms of like collection-wise. Yeah. I'm a big X-Men fan.
Yes.
Including the comic books, especially the comic books. And I've read tons of them. I own tons of them. But there's a huge gap in my like X-Men reading history. It's like embarrassing gaps, like the mid to late 80s, then like the late 90s, and then right after House of M. So I started reading where I left off in like the 80s X-Men, which is right after the Mutant Massacre, and so now I'm reading just straight, and I'm really enjoying it.
Nice.
So this is a time when things get a little bit more confusing, because for a while it was just there was one X-Men book and you just read that and you followed the whole X-Men story. But around this time and a little bit previously, they had X Factor and New Mutants, and there were like crossovers, and so if you just want to read one book, it's like, oh, but what happened there? So
yeah, I found that I read several volumes of Essential X Factor.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
But
yeah. That is true. There's just all sorts of holes.
Yeah.
Now, this brings up 2 points that we should mention. One, we're going to be doing an X-Men Spotlight in a couple of weeks. Do we have a date on that?
No, I mean, this was your whole idea, so I don't know what you have planned for this X-Men Spotlight.
My whole idea, sure. We're going to be doing an X-Men Spotlight to coincide
I think
with
it's the 10th. It's the Monday after the movie comes out.
Okay, so June 10th, when, what is it just called? Phoenix? What's it called?
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix. The latest X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix, is coming out.
Possibly the last.
Possibly. So we're going to do a spotlight on that. So send us all your thoughts about X-Men. And also,
X-Men,
if you're an X-Men fan, you can check out Eric and our past guest, Hillary. They have a podcast together where they talk exclusively about the X-Men called Previously on X-Men. You can find them on Twitter at Previously on X.
Previously on X.
Find all the information at radiomeanwhile.com. So check that out. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for you?
No.
Okay.
I think the last thing I was going to talk about was I watched the end of Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Like many other people.
Okay.
I got on. We didn't get on too late on this. I had read the book maybe when the first season was coming out.
Okay.
Stopped reading the book, and then my wife and I started watching the show. I think the third season was airing when we were watching. We binged the first 2 seasons on DVD, got in the third, and then have just been watching it since.
They are constantly checked out of this library.
The shows or in the books?
Shows.
Yeah.
Both.
Yes.
We had to buy whole new copies of the books because the other ones were just in tatters.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it was good. This last season has been divisive online with fans, like most things these days.
But you're on board?
I enjoyed the season for the most part. I've never found Game of Thrones to be a show that one enjoys. That
like a Joyce Carol Oates novel.
Maybe, yes. Yeah, you definitely get through it and be like, please don't be a terrible time from my heart and all this stuff.
You know what?
What?
It just occurred to me. Like a Joyce Carol Oates novel, there's also a lot of awkward sex and
violence?
Dark violence.
Yeah.
So
maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, check out Mudwoman.
Yeah. By Joyce Carol Oates.
Joyce Carol Oates.
Yeah.
There is a lot. There was a big battle in this season where they were fighting the big bad, and there were some people who were disappointed by it. I didn't have a single problem with that episode or the resolution. I was fine with it, enjoyed it. There was a character twist in the show that has upset a lot of people. I was also fine with it. Some people thought it was a little bit too rushed. I feel like there's been 8 seasons leading up to it. But the last episode did have a character twist as well.
Okay.
That I did feel was a little rushed, and then the aftermath was also rushed. So for some people who are upset about that I relate to. I don't think the episode was bad. For me, I'm definitely glad, like, okay, we're done with war. We're done with violence. People can just live. We don't have to watch this anymore.
Are you going to start watching Fear the Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the spin-off about the family that just lives on a boat
during
this show.
Yep.
No, I'm done with Game of. They're starting like 4 prequels or
Yeah, I
something.
heard.
No,
Oh, it blows my mind that HBO doesn't have anything ready to like
Oh my goodness.
show during the,
As you press play or were watching the last episode, they had this like montage of all the shows that are coming up, and it's like His Dark Materials, Watchmen, and it was just like all these shows. I'm like, boy, it's just like if they had a voice saying, please, please don't.
that probably would have been more effective.
Maybe because it's like Watchmen, but not the comic, and it's actually after the comic, so there's none of the characters. His Dark Materials. Remember that polar bear movie with Daniel Craig? No, well now it's a show.
Polar bear.
Remember
movie with
remember
Daniel Craig.
Deadwood? Not Deadwood. Was it Deadwood?
Deadwood.
Yeah. Do you remember it?
I do.
It's back.
Whoa.
So all you fans,
I never got on that train. I've seen some Deadwood, but it was not for me. I like a lot of the actors in it. Like Timothy Olyphant and Ian McShane. I think are great. But
I watched
Deadwood as a show.
The first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
When I finished Rome, I'm like, I need a new show. And after 4 episodes, I'm like, my ears are bleeding. I can no longer do this.
Yeah.
It is it's the cursing is just
No,
it would make
Yeah, that's true.
it is
That's true.
terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, no, I didn't stick with it either. It's also kind of gross when you when you like watch something's like it's a realistic take on the Old West. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
You don't need to see that.
Yeah, so
All right.
yeah.
Well, I know there's one more thing you did watch, and that
Mhm.
is the film Battlefield
Oh,
Earth.
that's true.
So in the previous
With you.
episode, in the previous episode, we did a deep dive into
The book Battlefield Earth,
which I stand by.
You
I
liked,
like the
yeah.
book. I had a good time talking about it.
I don't think
We got some nice feedback on that, so thanks.
Yes, I would definitely suggest like if you look at the book Battlefield Earth and like I'm not reading this, then listen to the podcast because you will enjoy his description of the book Battlefield Earth. I'm not sure it will totally convince you to read it, but you'll definitely leave thinking a little bit more highly of the book, or at least its bigger concepts, I think. So it seems like really does seem like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but done straight, done totally straight, without the British humor.
That could be. Well, I mean, we
I've
talked.
never heard you talk about bureaucracy so much than L. Ron Hubbard's Battlefield Earth.
Seriously, it was almost prequel level of talking about politics and things.
Yes.
But so we watched this movie, and it is truly spectacularly terrible.
Nick was shocked. Nick was more shocked than me.
It was not. It was not fun in the slightest.
No.
And we did a whole separate. I joined Eric for a separate podcast where we talked all about this. We retweeted this on our page.
Yeah.
So you can find it over on 3 Nice Things, the podcast. But we talked about this movie, and it was. It's unwatchable. I mean, it really is. It's probably the worst movie that I've ever seen.
For some reason,
I really think it is.
You want a Turl played by John Travolta action figure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a badge of honor at this point. I'm not gonna play with it.
Look,
I conquered Battlefield Earth.
You can get one for about $10 from eBay or $75 from Amazon.
Let me tell you what. I think I deserve it because I am the only living person to have read the entire book and have purposely watched the entire movie. It's just me. There's nobody else out there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I deserve
bad.
that action figure. But we did watch.
It's
this
on
movie.
Netflix. Netflix is freaking out because they can't get Friends for many more years, and yet Battlefield Earth is just on there.
Battlefield Earth is probably like $0.05 a year.
Yeah, it's in a package deal. So you can have these 5 movies, but you got to take Battlefield Earth.
We really want Blade Runner, but we have to take Battlefield Earth too.
Yeah, it's in a Travolta package.
Anyway, if you're watching this on video, please look me right in the eyes when I tell you, don't watch this movie. Don't do it.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for you, bookmark wise?
Yes.
Let me take it away. I read a couple of graphic novels.
Oh.
I read Titans Hunt. This is a Teen Titans story where DC keeps rebooting things, and this was one where the Teen Titans were kind of aware.
Comics are confusing.
I know. Teen Titans were aware of like an alternate reality, and were kind of trying to figure out what the deal was. It was too long and not that great.
Oh.
I read Spider-Man Worldwide, Volume 7. Thank you, Eric.
No problem.
Eric adjusted my microphone.
It's all right.
I read Spider-Man Worldwide Volume 7. So this has been I've read 7 volumes of this series, and I really enjoy it. It's where Peter Parker, Spider-Man, runs like a huge, like multinational billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah.
It's very good, and this was kind of the end of that.
Oh.
So it ends, and then it kind of gives you here's what's happening next, and I'm into what's happening next too. So I'm probably going to continue to follow this series.
Dan Slott's gone.
From the world?
No, he stopped. He's retired from Spider-Man. He was writing it for like 10 years.
Yeah, it's a long run.
He stopped. So you still have. I mean, I do too. You have plenty of Dan Slott. I don't know.
Post Worldwide, he's still on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then he starts writing Iron Man.
Okay.
So.
So I read those 2 graphic novels. I read 2 books. I read Mickey Dolenz book, I'm a Believer, and I loved it. I thought
And you learned a lot.
I did. I thought it was great. It was a lot more like in how the albums were made and the different dynamics, the group dynamics. It was much more monkeys centric than the Nesmith book that I read a while back, Infinite Tuesday, which as I expected. My only like negative feeling about this is just it was written in the mid 90s at a time where the monkeys were like not. Their popularity was kind of done, and they weren't really getting along super well. And then they rebounded, and then like fixed all their relationships and toured together and did more albums and all that. But it ends on kind of a down note, just because of the time that it was written. Yeah. So if you know that that's not the end of the story, I loved it. I really loved it. If you're
and
a Monkeys
I'll never
fan,
team up with the monkeys again.
Pretty much. So if you're a Monkeys fan, it's definitely worth a read. It's a quick read, lots of good pictures. It's great. I read Indiana Jones and the Interior World. This was not good. This was not good.
IKEA always sounds like a nice place until you're actually in there.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's the Interior World. So this is a series I started so long ago. I feel like I've been reading this Indiana Jones
1985?
series. Not that long. But probably since like 2003 have I occasionally read one of these Indiana Jones books. And they're always hit and miss, and this was a total miss. But some of the other ones have been pretty good.
Had a few 4-star ratings on Goodreads.
Yeah.
I saw.
A few.
So
I guess if you like it was just Indiana Jones was really like, I mean, if you like what they did with it, I think that's it. Either you can accept that this is like a weird trippy story. Basically, there's a subterranean world, which I thought was a little too fantastical for Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And
he was not really like the driving force behind it. He was always just kind of a passenger in what was going on. I just felt like write a novel about there being a interior world and don't include Indiana Jones if that's what you want to do.
I've got that Police song stuck in my head.
The only one I know is Every Little Thing She Does.
The one where it's like, in the interior world. I'm singing it wrong.
Madonna's Material World?
No.
Okay. So let's see. I read that. I am currently reading Road of Bones by David Back. This is a Wolverine book.
Yeah.
I'm reading it because I've had it in my house for probably 10, 15 years. And we're doing the XMen Spotlight, so I thought now's the perfect time. So I'm reading that. Yeah. And I'm also reading one called Don't Believe It by Charlie Donnelly. And I'm really liking this.
Yeah, what is this?
I'm about halfway through. It's kind of a take on like the serial podcast and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Basically, someone's convicted of a crime and they're out of appeals and all that. And they reach out to an old friend who's a journalist and is like, use your power basically to do a show that proves my innocence.
Okay.
So it's working really well. It could be cheesy, and maybe it still will be because I'm not finished with it yet. But so far, I'm really liking it.
Nice.
It's much better than the movie Battlefield Earth.
Oh, is that what you're comparing everything to now?
No, but it's just worth noting that it's significantly better.
Yeah, how'd you like those chicken tenders? Well, they were better than Battlefield Earth. Okay.
Okay. And then finally, I watched the Jim Carrey show, Kidding. So this is a Showtime show.
He's supposed to be like Mr. Rogers, right?
Yes. And this is going to surprise you, Eric, because I never do this. I watched the entire season in one sitting.
Nick is very bad at binging shows.
I watched all 10 episodes. My wife was gone, and I put it in. I was like, I'll watch a few of these. And then, I kept watching it, and she got home, and I was like, no, I'm too in this now. I got to finish this series. So she went to bed, and I finished it.
Wait, in one day?
In one sitting.
Whoa.
Yeah. I watched the whole series.
Wow. Okay.
It's 10 episodes. Anyway, I have very mixed feelings about this.
Okay.
Here's the premise, okay? Jim Carrey, yes, has been doing basically a Mick Rogers.
A Mick Rogers? Who's that?
A Mr. Rogers type show for like 30 years.
Yeah. Hey, what up, kids? I'm Mick Rogers. Is your parents divorced? Too bad. Yeah. Mick Rogers out.
Thank you. So Jim Carrey's character, Pickles is his name, Mr. Pickles. His dad runs the show. His sister works on the show. And it starts with his family having met in a car crash and one of his twin sons dies.
Oh.
And so he's wanting to address this on the show. And everybody's like, no, you can't talk about that kind of thing on the show.
Right.
And it just starts to gradually more and more his anger builds up, and he starts to feel like a fraud because he's not addressing things with the kids who are watching the show. And, his marriage is falling apart and his relationship with his other son is strained, and things just kind of fester and bubble and get kind of worse and worse.
Right.
Ultimately,
Does he murder somebody?
No.
Okay.
Ultimately, I was dissatisfied with it.
Uh-huh.
Because it felt like one of those things where something would happen and I would be like, oh, that's got to be meaningful. Like they're trying to say something here.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking like all this will be clear in the next episode. By the end of the first season, I don't know what they were telling you.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know what your takeaway is supposed to be. And it also doesn't seem purposely ambiguous. So like either I'm dense and I just missed it or it doesn't quite hit its mark.
All right.
So if anybody else has watched this show, I want to talk about it.
Right.
So all the book show on Twitter, let me know.
Yeah, we'll set up a poll. Is Nick dense or is it the show?
Yeah, or is Mr. Pickles not all he's cracked up to be? So we do have this it's a Showtime series. It has been renewed for season 2.
Oh,
we have season 1 in the collection right here
Always
on DVD.
checked out.
That's
It's
why
very popular.
I just checked it out and returned it.
Yeah.
Watched it in one sitting. I don't know if I mentioned that, but
sure
I did it.
Wow,
I
that's
powered
something.
through it. All right, that's it. That is
Okay.
it for me.
Why'd you want me to get something about The Outsider?
Oh,
by Stephen King.
Yes, thanks for bringing that up. Stephen King's The Outsider is a book that came out.
Reminds me of that police song.
Yeah, maybe like 2 years ago this came out. And it's about there's a crime is committed in a small town and everybody assumes like this is the person who did it
Right.
and then things kind of
Did you read this?
go from there. I tried.
Oh.
I tried and I read a significant portion of it and I just didn't like it.
Too dark?
I mean it was dark, but I think it's just I don't like when Stephen King writes like a James Patterson
Oh, you could
novel.
have ended it there for me. Just kidding. Like a James Patterson novel.
Yeah, like Mr. Mercedes
Uh-huh.
is totally like a James Patterson type novel.
Like he's trying to be like an airport read?
No, well, I mean, it's a more straightforward procedural.
Mm-hmm.
The Outsider to me was like if you take a James Patterson and you mix it with a little bit of Stephen King's Needful Things.
Mm-hmm.
But I started reading this because his new book that's coming out features a character who is in the Mercedes trilogy, in The Outsider, and then she's going to be the lead in this new book. And I thought, I should read The Outsider.
Is it
You know,
St. Augustine?
no,
Oh.
it's not.
Okay.
I don't even get that.
just wondering who it was.
No, it's not them. Her name's Holly.
Oh, okay, cool.
And it's not that she's a bad character. It's just I don't like when he writes these procedural novels.
Right.
So I guess I gave up on The Outsider, which I don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I'm going to read the next one. So
Hey.
that's all. And I was just asking Ursula, who works here. She was on our Stephen King episode.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that?
I don't know.
What episode was that?
Longer than the Batman and Superman stuff.
Yeah, I guess so.
So episode
It was
like
episode
12?
9, everyone.
Oh, I almost
Ursula
said-
was
yeah.
on for episode 9 when we did our Stephen King spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her about it because she's an expert from way back in the day. I mean, she read the first Stephen King, has continued all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her. She agreed. Just
Oh.
not good.
Yeah.
Not his best stuff. So I was disappointed in it, and I thought I would pass that along. I didn't feel like I could include it in my bookmark since I didn't
Right.
finish it.
Yeah.
But the more you know.
All right. He just did the was like a rainbow?
It's like a rainbow with a star. Yeah.
Yeah, the star
NBC.
leading,
Classic.
yeah. Like reading rainbow.
Let's do some book news. Tell me what's on the old New York Times bestseller list.
You're not the boss of me. Not on this.
Okay.
Let's do this. Yeah, New York Times bestsellers list for hardcover fiction. Let's start at 10. Oh, let's check the bottom. Oh, Fire and Blood went down to 14.
That's
So-
George R.R. Martin.
Yeah. So we'll see if that comes back with
We
the
will
end
see
of
if it will.
yeah, with the end of Game of
If it
Thrones.
resurges. You know what? I'm
What?
actually pretty surprised that they're not putting out like a fancy version of the first book or something like that. Like there doesn't seem to be any real like tie-in with the end of the series.
I don't know, man.
Book-wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the world's pretty terrible these
don't have
days,
to
so
talk
that's kind
about
of like a real life tie-in. Okay, Nick just silently resigned and went to his laptop. He does not want to engage. Let's do this then. Book number 10 on the New York Times bestsellers list for hardcover
Newark.
fiction. What did I say?
You said New York.
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
Like Newark.
Yeah, Newark.
Newark. the Newark's bestseller.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hi, everybody. Gail here. Let's check out the top 10 books I read this week.
That's Newark for you?
I don't know where Newark is.
It's in New Jersey.
Oh, well then, no, I
You need
definitely...
like a Jersey accent.
I couldn't do that if I
Okay.
wanted to.
I think it's
and I
probably
don't.
probably best you don't. So
All right, number 10, new this week, The Guest Book by Sarah Blake. Evie Milton uncovers a story. What?
nothing. I'm not familiar with this book at all.
Well, it's new.
Well, I know, but usually I will have heard of them.
Huh. Well, maybe you should check out The Guest Book.
Maybe.
I don't know. That didn't lead
And
anywhere.
I've been spending a lot of time in Newark, so I,
Evie Milton uncovers a story going back to a couple generations that may shatter a family myth. So, yeah, Dad was a Sasquatch.
A
But
Sasquatch.
we find out in the guest
Dad
book.
was a
We
Sasquatch.
find out the Sasquatch not real.
You know what? This is neither here nor there, but I just learned that Eric's never seen the classic film Harry and the Hendersons,
That's true.
which does deal with a Sasquatch, and John Lithgow.
And I couldn't sing you Benny and the Jets.
By Elton John?
Yeah.
Oh, I could.
So Benny and the Jets and Harry and the Hendersons, kind of blind spots for this guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
That might be my best material of this month.
Sadly, it is.
Aw. You want to talk about John Sanford at number 9?
Bum, bum, ba-da,
Neon Prey.
bum, bum, ba-da, ba-da,
So why do you get to
bum.
make that joke? But my Harry and the Hendersons thing didn't work.
Mine was subtle.
I guess. Neon Prey by John Sanford, the 29th book in the Prey series. Lucas Davenport goes after a serial killer, just like he has 28
I was
times.
just gonna say, wow, that's like an Elvis movie. It's like they're all
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
the same one-line plot.
What would be the one-line plot then for Elvis, if you had to just do one right now?
Let's see. Elvis falls in love and punches someone.
Oh, all right.
Sometimes he goes to a Clambake.
Okay, Clambake. Why are you? Is there
That's
a
the
Clambake song?
It's a Clambake. Clambake. Gonna have a Clambake.
Does he sing a song about Clambake?
Yeah, I was doing it. Clambake.
No, I know.
Gonna have a Clambake.
I know you're doing it, but I guess part of me didn't know if this was
baby
a.
loves Clambake. Clambake.
parody.
Mama's little baby loves. No, this is all real.
Oh,
This
wow.
is all real. The Elvis film Clambake.
There's a. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't recommend the Elvis film Clambake. If you'd like to know my favorite Elvis films, they are as follows:
Oh boy.
Change of Habit
Uh-huh.
with Mary Tyler Moore.
Right.
Viva Las Vegas
Uh-huh.
with Anne Margaret.
Right.
Easy Come, Easy Go. He plays a Navy frogman who finds a treasure underwater, but
Uh-huh.
wants to wait till he gets out of the Navy to report it. That way he can keep it instead of giving it to the Navy.
Right.
Some hairy stuff.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 favorites.
Okay.
Top 3 favorite Elvis movies.
Nice. There you go.
My brother loves Sarum Scarum.
Okay. Number 8, The Big Kahuna by Janet Ivanovich and Peter Ivanovich. Oh wait, Peter's her son.
Her son. Yeah, we figured this out.
The
It's
sixth book
uncoming.
in the Fox and O'Hare series. An FBI agent teams up with a con man to search for a Silicon Valley billionaire. That's it.
Okay.
So just find
Fox and O'Hare.
Yeah. Fox and O'Hare. Oh no, I've had that realization already.
Okay.
Number 7, new this week, The Road Home by Richard Paul Evans. The third book in the Broken Road series. Charles James continues his journey on Route 66 to his ultimate destination.
What if it was Charles Grodin instead?
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
Which one's Charles
Charles
Grodin?
Grodin?
No, I don't know who he is.
Famous actor.
From
Sorry.
what?
I mean, you'd probably know him most from Beethoven. He was the dad in the film Beethoven.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
My memory of Beethoven is more just like very vague images.
I remember going to see the movie Beethoven, and I was in a very bad mood.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to go, and I refused to laugh during all of the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
One time, though, Beethoven bit the villain in the crotch, and I did laugh. I did laugh.
Yeah. I remember liking that the son, who's like a little kid,
Yeah.
gets behind the driver's
Yeah.
seat and drives into like a wall. I remember thinking that was the most exciting thing I'd ever seen in my life.
The villain in Beethoven was Dean Jones, who was from like Herbie the Love Bug and lots of classic Disney movies of like 60s and 70s.
Right.
Always the hero, so it was fun to see him as the villain. But then Beethoven bit his crotch.
Right.
So.
And so that was written by Richard Paul Evans?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
No, it's totally irrelevant.
Number 6 on the New York Times bestsellers list is new this week. It's Storm Curse by Patricia Briggs.
Storm Curse.
This is the 11th book in the Mercy Thomas series.
We need to get Kate on the horn here because our children's librarian, Kate, frequent. What's the word when someone doesn't want to do something?
I don't know.
Okay.
Employee?
Kate loves this series.
Yeah.
She's like up to date on this series, and I've only read. Have you read any of the Mercy stuff?
No.
You
I
haven't?
thought about doing like a joke about like, of course I have, but there just wasn't enough there.
Yeah,
No,
you're
I
right.
haven't read them.
I've only read. We have some of the graphic novels, and I read them. They always
Oh, okay.
sound kind of fun to me.
Oh, yeah.
She's like they're vaguely supernatural. She's like
Mhm.
a shape-shifting vampire werewolf. I don't know. I'll ask Kate.
Right.
All right, I don't
Yeah.
know. Reluctant. That's the word I was looking
But
for.
both vampires,
Reluctant podcast guest is
Yeah.
what Kate is. Yeah,
vampires and werewolves individually are shapeshifters.
they are.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Maybe
Maybe she's a shape-shifting hunter, a vampire. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that would be
I don't
different.
know. You know what? You keep talking. I'm gonna text.
Dangers
Kate.
swell as death approaches. Huh. That's the best. I guess at book 11, you kind of start running out of steam. Well, I don't know. A werewolf is here, too.
Is it Mercy Thompson? Is that what it is? Okay.
It's Patricia Briggs. Oh, yeah, it's a Mercy Thompson novel. Look, I'm going to talk about book number 5 on the New York Bestsellers list. Is new this week. It's Sunset Beach by Mary Kay Andrews. Is that Drews? Oh, that's Drew. Sorry, I added a C there. Drew Campbell inherits a rundown beach bungalow and takes a job at his estranged father's personal injury attorney office. That's a lot there.
Yeah.
If I have personal injury attorney off his father's, his estranged father's.
And all we got for the Sanford one is there's a serial killer on the loose.
Yeah. Yep. Number 4 is not new this week. It's been here for a bit.
Okay.
It's David Baldacci's Redemption. But he has no redemption for Nick as a reader.
Nope, I tried. Sorry, Dave.
So number 3 is new this week. The Queen. The Queen is back. Blessings in Disguise by Danielle Steele.
Oh.
I read an article
She's
about
the
like
queen
how
of popular fiction.
Yeah, basically of how Danielle Steele is like the richest person in publishing or something.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah. I think at one point she was like the record holder for like the most books sold.
Yeah. If she wanted to. We tend not to talk down about her books because if she wanted to, she could buy and sell this podcast a million times over.
She could.
She could replace us with a chimp and a typewriter.
Yeah.
And
or make us stay and force us to read the copy.
Oh,
whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Of the monkey from the typewriter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
yeah.
Interesting.
So this just in, Banana's still great.
Let me ask you a serious question.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like to do this, so
Okay.
feel free to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to read a Danielle Steele novel with me, and then we do a special episode of the podcast about it?
It depends on how dense they think you are from that kidding thing on the poll.
But maybe, so if they don't think I'm dense, you'll read a Danielle Steele.
Um,
I'm going to get somebody to read a Danielle Steele
which one
novel
would we
with me,
pick?
period. Johnny Angel.
But you just had that locked and loaded.
Johnny Angel was a bestseller at the first library I worked at, and we had like a million copies. It's small, it's blue. I think it's about a ghost.
Okay.
Probably an angel. I don't know. That's just the one when I always think of Danielle Steele, I always think of Johnny Angel.
Okay. When I think of Danielle Steele, I think of somebody just sitting in like a corporate office.
Yeah.
Just waiting for people like, Danielle Steele, what if we wrote this book? And she's like, that's terrible. And then she pulls a lever and the guy falls down a trap door into a bunch of alligators.
And then she goes and swims through coins and bills like Scrooge McDuck.
Every now and then she waits for Superman to show up by her windows and like talk about how she doesn't own this city anymore. Boy. She's like, things don't work that way in Danielle Steele's world.
No. This is all Eric. This is not me, Danielle. I haven't said anything negative.
Let's see. Blessings in Disguise. Isabel McAvoy faces challenges as she raises 3 daughters from 3 separate fathers on her own.
You kind of said that like Michael J. Fox. You were like, faces challenges. Funny.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Michael J. Fox will be playing that role as well.
Oh, really?
No.
That's great.
The 18th okay, this is this is the book I saw being advertised at 5 p.m. in between a Castle rerun.
That's right.
Or Bones rerun. Yeah. Sorry. The 18th Abduction by James Patterson and Maxine Pietro.
Oh, Maxine.
So this is the 18th book in the Women's Murder Club series, which is his most popular series, would you say?
Well,
outside
I don't
of
know
Alex
if that's
Cross?
true. I mean, here it eclipses Alex Cross. Like the wait list for the Women's Murder Club is off the charts.
Yeah. Lindsay Boxer investigates the disappearance of 3 female teachers. Yeah.
Lindsay Boxer. Is he an actual, like the dog, a boxer?
Lindsay the Boxer.
Yeah, Lindsay the Boxer.
Lindsay the Boxer dog.
Around,
yeah.
Solving mysteries.
Yeah, those are. I almost adopted a boxer.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a choice between a boxer and a Corgi mix.
Oh.
And we took the Corgi mix. Mm-hmm. You know him as Scooter.
I do.
Scooter, come on out.
Wow, this is was Scooter or Mike Tyson?
Yeah, basically. So,
was that number 1?
Scooter?
No, that book
he is number 1.
I know he is in your heart.
He's number 1 party dog. If I had to tell you this right now.
Number 1 party
number
dog.
1. Let's see if you can guess what number 1 on the New York Times bestsellers list is.
Oh, right now? Where the Crawdads Sing?
Yes, that's it. Where the Crawdads Sing by Dahlia Owens. Woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect on the Reese Witherspoon book club, and Reese Witherspoon is getting ready to air. Well, I guess HBO is airing Big Little Lies season 2.
Yeah, and Reese Witherspoon is also going to be in
Shrek. No, she was never in Shrek.
Oh.
She was in Legally Blonde.
What is it? Little Fires Everywhere. Little Fires Everywhere.
Oh.
By Celeste Ng.
Yeah.
Just gonna. Anyway, that's it. So Where the Crawdads Sing.
When do you think they'll do a Legally Blonde where she covers like a serial killer?
Wow. Legally Blonde 3. I guess there kind of was a Legally Blonde.
Yeah,
3.
wasn't there?
There was 2 with her, and then there's one with like teenagers.
Oh, it's like a prequel. There's a musical.
No, I don't think it is because she's like, I don't know.
Okay, but there's a musical now.
There is a musical, yes.
But so Legally Blonde 4.
I guess.
She's like, this man did not kill those 5 people horrifically.
Yeah.
No, he was found covered in their blood.
Hold on.
What?
fresh off the presses. I just asked Kate what the Mercy Thompson series is.
Okay.
She says it's an urban fantasy series that follows a shapeshifter, so I got that part right.
Right.
Living in a werewolf world. There are also many
yeah.
other creatures like witches, vampires, and goblins.
Yeah.
I was very close.
You were.
Thank you.
You
Kate.
know, in a way, we're all living in a werewolf's world. Try being a man in a werewolf's world. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So
Well, now we know.
yeah,
Now we
goblins, and she said creatures, but then said witches.
Yeah.
That seems like
Derogatory.
yeah, those are people.
I guess so.
Witches tend to be people. Vampires tend to be people,
They
at
do.
least until they get turned into
Then they're
vampires.
bats and
Yeah,
things. Okay.
then they're bats and things. Yeah,
All right.
rats as well. They seem that if it's a
turn into
swarm,
rats.
yeah, they could turn into a swarm of rats
I don't like
and
that.
bats.
I don't like
So
that
you
at
could be like,
all.
oh snap, Dracula's got to get out of here.
No.
Turns into rats, and then you just got like 80
I don't
rats.
like. I
under
like
your
the
feet.
attitude Dracula had, but I don't like that he can turn into rats.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the nebulas.
Yeah.
So in further book news,
Would you watch and or read a modern retelling of Dracula, but as a teenager?
I
So
will
it's
tell-
Dracula with attitude.
I will tell you when you play the awards theme music. Would I read a teenage Dracula story?
Yeah.
That's called Twilight, and I will not read it.
No. I mean actual Dracula.
Actual Dracula.
Actual Dracula. He's. There's been no vampires but Dracula, but he's a teenager, so he's got attitude.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's not my jam.
Like he's in school, and his teacher's like, Dracula, what was the answer to this algebra question? He's like, meh, 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 meh,
Did you
meh.
know, I didn't realize this until I was just reminded of it when I was working the desk the other day.
Uh-huh.
Bram Stoker's maybe it's great, I don't know, nephew wrote an official sequel to Dracula.
Oh.
It's like, the official sequel.
Sure.
And he also has a new book out now that follows like a young Bram Stoker.
Oh.
So if you're interested in that sort of thing,
Yeah.
we've got it here at the David A. Howe Public Library, your friendly neighborhood library.
I tend to be more interested in dinosaurs.
We're so far away from the award theme now. Does anybody remember what we're doing?
We're talking about the Nebula Awards
Do you want to play it again, the theme?
a second time.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hey.
All right, the Nebula Awards were announced. Eric, you know more about these than me, so why don't you take it away?
I do not have them up, but
I meant just talk a little bit about the nebulas.
Nebula Awards are a popular awards handed out to science fiction and fantasy. They seem to be better at honoring fantasy novels than, say, the Hugos, which tend to be. Historically, I've noticed the Hugos are more science fiction leaning, though they just awarded 3 fantasies in a row for the same series. But the Nebulas tend to be a little. I think they're often referred to more as the Academy Awards.
Okay.
Because again, the Hugos are fan voted, are votes of the people, by the people, for the people, of the people,
Yeah.
for the people.
Yeah.
And the Nebulas are not. So, yeah.
Okay.
There you
Do
go.
you know? So who is the voting body of the Nebulas? Is there like an academy or something of?
The awards are awarded by the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America,
Okay.
the SFWA, a nonprofit association of professional science fiction and fantasy writers.
Okay.
They were first given in 1966.
It's a pretty good run.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't let's save novel for very last.
Somebody's I've seen. Yes, this is what I've seen. They're considered a very prestigious award.
Great.
So there have been some books that win Hugo, Nebula, and the Philip K. Dick Award, and that's usually considered like
The Triple Crown.
yes, that's a big deal. So Neuromancer won all 3 of those.
Wow. Okay. Great.
I think.
Let's do novella first. Would you like to talk? Would you like to say the nominees, Eric?
I sure would.
Okay.
I'm just gonna click on the Nebula Awards.
The
now.
novellas are Fire Ant by Jonathan P. Brazzi, The Black God's Drums by Paige Clark, Alice Payne Arrives by Kate Hartfield,
Mhm.
God's Monsters and the Lucky Peach by
Oh.
Kelly Robson, and Artificial Condition by Martha Wells.
I read that.
And did I read that one? I don't know if I did. If you haven't listened to our Martha Wells interview yet,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have but to go back just a few episodes because
You
we got a
have
chance to
but.
talk to Martha Wells herself.
The winner is the Tea Master and the Detective. Oh, I shouldn't have taken that over.
No, that's fine.
By this is why I shouldn't have taken over.
Oh, I see. It looks French. Aliette de Bodard,
Yeah.
Tea Master and the Detective. So novella, of course,
Are you
smaller
supposed
than
to-
a novel.
Are you supposed to pronounce the D in Bodard? Like Bodar?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not French.
Yes, novella is smaller than a novel, Nick.
A novelette is darn adorable.
Yeah.
Just even smaller.
Yeah. It's like your little just a little pocket
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Now, so you read Artificial Condition. Are you familiar with these other authors or titles?
I am not. The Nebula also tends to have a much different list nominees than the Hugos.
The Hugos, they do tend to be like mostly. I'm not a huge science fiction reader, but typically when we do the Hugos, I will at least recognize the names. And here, there's not a lot that I do. Episode 190 was our Martha Wells interview, folks. If you want to go back, SoundCloud.com/allthebooks or anywhere you find podcasts. Noblet. The nominees are The Only Harmless. Oh no. The Last Banquet of Temporal Confections by Tina Connolly, An Agent of Utopia by Andy Duncan, The Substance of My Lives, The Accidents of Our Births by Jose Pablo Iriart, The Rule of Three by Lawrence M. Shawn, and Messenger by Unijala Winjarthi and R.R. Virdi. And the winner, Eric,
is The Only Harmless Great Thing by Brooke Bolander.
Short stories.
Which is shorter than a novelette.
Correct.
But bigger than a paragraph.
The next one is one word. The best science fiction related single word.
Single word, yes.
It's right after short stories.
Yes.
You know what?
Uh-huh.
I've read all of these short stories.
Well, so have I.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Actually, I don't think you have.
Yes, I have.
You've read Interview for the End of the World by Rhett C. Bruno.
Was that in the list you gave me?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, well then no, I haven't.
Okay.
Darn it.
Sorry.
You tricked me, Nick Gunnan.
I know, I'm sorry. Interview for the End of the World.
You'll be hearing from Danielle Steele about this.
By Rhett C. Bruno. So this was one that was not readily available online. You could get it you could get it from different places. So I read this one, and it was probably my favorite of the short stories that I read.
I didn't read it because it wasn't available online or from friends.
I forgot that it wasn't in that PDF that I made. Anyway, I thought this was my favorite. Totally understand why it didn't win, because it's really more. It's almost more like a prelude to a novel series, and so it worked on its own. But because it's like set up, I could see where maybe that would kind of, like in case of a tie, it would kind of drop it down a little bit. But again, the author on that is Rhett C. Bruno. Interview for the End of the World. I looked into this series because I was really intrigued by this, and I would like to read it. So anyway, that's one. Going Dark by Richard Fox. I also really like this one.
Which one was this?
This is the one where he was going into like the haunted house.
Oh yeah, this was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, I agree. It was right up there for me in this other one.
Yeah.
This was the one that I was hoping for. I thought this was most likely to win.
All right.
No, I'm sorry.
What?
Going Dark is not. And Yet by A.T. Greenblatt is the one that we're talking about. I always confuse it with Going Dark because that sounds like.
Which one's Going Dark?
Thing. I don't know.
Okay. Well, we read it.
Yeah, we did.
So there you go.
Yep.
That left an impression.
But no, the one that we were just talking about, And Yet.
Oh, Going Dark is the one about the robot soldier.
Yes.
Yeah, that didn't do anything for me.
No, that was low on my list. Yeah. That's true. But let's talk about And Yet a little bit.
So And Yet is a guy has gone into a haunted house of his youth.
And he's like a scientist.
Yes.
Trying to prove like alternate worlds.
Yeah.
Theories
he's trying to prove that it's not a haunted house, that it's a convergence of quantum mechanics, and that you can go into parallel universes, right?
Yeah. And I think why it works so well is because it really plays on a lot of classic haunted house themes, but it also has that extra layer of like, his scientific his scientific interest in it as well as
his personal interest.
Yeah, the way that it's all treated. I thought this made for a very compelling story. So
he's trying to his little brother, he was supposed to be watching his little brother, and his little brother got hit by a car and died due to that. On the way
to this haunted house.
On the way to the haunted house. Yeah. And so now he's basically trying to reverse things, and things might go a little wrong for him.
Yes. So these are all nominees. We haven't hit the winner yet. A Witch's Guide to Escape, a practical compendium of portal fantasies.
If you could also include a pandering compendium. This is a short story had to be written by a librarian for librarians.
Probably.
And as a librarian, it just kind of annoyed me. I'm like, we're not handing out vaccines for mono, Is that a thing? Can you hand out vaccines for mono?
You think you need to have a medical license. Yeah, basically there's a kid with a rough home life who's coming into the library a lot, and the librarians are all witches.
Yes.
And they're watching all of this unfold.
Yeah.
And, it just becomes very fantastical and very, heartwarming.
Yes, it's heartwarming. Every book she's giving him is supposed to be, helping him through something. But I guess it's like, you're giving him the Count of Monte Cristo? That's the best you can do?
I know.
Some witch.
I know.
And of course she's like, oh, and I'm waiting to give him Harry Potter because you need us. It's like, shut up. Oh, my word.
With apologies to Alex E. Haro
Yeah.
for Eric's epic takedown here.
Sorry. I mean, it's nice. Yes, libraries are important and books are very important. And what this story says is true about escapism and everything. But it's just told in kind of a way that just makes me go like, all right, I've never actually saved a man from drowning, and I'm not a lifeguard.
True.
So
bottom line, it's.
What if I was a lifeguard but I've never saved anyone from drowning?
It's a fun story. It has a positive message.
Yeah.
I think that it was a little too sweet.
Yeah.
And then finally, The Court Magician by Sarah Pinsker. This was, I mean, you can kind of guess what it's about right there.
Where's the dinosaur one?
This was a little dark. The dinosaur one? I think that's a Hugo nom.
You tricked me again.
Well, a lot of them are duplicates. A lot
Okay.
of them are on both Hugo and Nebula.
And I didn't like the dinosaur one.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. But we can talk about that when the Hugo noms
Okay.
come out. Court Magician was a little on the dark side.
Bless you. Oh yeah, this one didn't also do that too much. Didn't do too much for me because I also didn't really understand it as much as I should. It didn't seem like a complicated thing, but by the end, I'm like, I don't know what I just read.
Speaking of things that didn't do much for me, the winner, The Secret Lives of the 9 Negro Teeth of George Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the most part.
It basically just tells the story of each of where George Washington got each of his individual teeth.
I like the structure of the story, but then it would say whenever George Washington put this tooth in, and it was always just kind of like, well, do the exact same thing that the person did. So if the slave that the tooth came from had run away, George Washington couldn't find the tooth. And I'm like, well, that's not as creative as it could be.
Right. I didn't think it was particularly nuanced. It also didn't feel very sci-fi-ish to me. Did you think?
No, it was more fantastical. There was magic in there.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, people were falling out of the sky and causing spells and everything.
Just a personal preference thing, but I just didn't think it quite
the end, I mean, they connected to George Washington's decree to free all his slaves upon his wife's death.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah. All right. So that was a winner there. Again, the winner was The Secret Lives of the 9 Negro Teeth of George Washington by Fedderson Jelly Clark.
Ray Bradbury Award for Outstanding Dramatic Presentation.
Let's do it.
All right. The Good Place. Jeremy Bearimy. That was a pretty funny episode. Black Panther. A Quiet Place. Dirty Computer. Sorry to Bother You. And the winner is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I think that's a pretty well-deserved one in there.
Yeah.
Although, again, I'm both frustrated and surprised that Star Trek Discovery got nothing because it really had some spectacular episodes, especially like the writing. I think was particularly strong, especially towards the tail end of the season. There's probably 2 episodes in particular. One deals with a time loop and one deals with another situation on a planet where a communication issue. Both of those are just so strong that I'm surprised that both the Hugos and the Nebulas didn't see that. I don't know if it's just not like hip to put Star Trek up for this, if that just seems like too old hat, but
I don't know, man.
I think they're both very deserving. But I'm also pleased that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, screenplay by Phil Lord and Rodney Rothman, won. I think that's an excellent choice. Andre
Norton Award for Young Adult Science Fiction and Fantasy. So you have Aru Shah in the End of Times by Roshni Chowsky, and this is a Rick Riordan Presents book. Light in the Dark by A.K. Dubov. Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. Pea Sprout Chen, Future Legend of Skate and Sword by Henry Lin. Test of the Road by Rachel Hartman. And the winner is Child of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adamahi, which I've said that very incorrectly. Adame. That we've talked about that book a lot. That was on the bestsellers list a lot. That was on a lot of people's
choice, or at least was nominated.
Yes, that was on a lot of people's best of list. So not a surprise there. Best game writing, I don't understand, but let's try to figure it out.
Okay.
The Road to Canterbury by Kate Hatfield. Never played it. God of War. Oh, that's the new God of War. Rent a Vice. The Martian Job. And the winner is Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which I guess is a game. It's a choose your own adventure episode of the show on Netflix.
Interesting.
So that whole section was very uncompelling to this guy over here.
It was. All right, let's look at the one.
The best novel.
The best novel. Nominees include The Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse, Witchmark by C.L. Polk.
Which one?
Witchmark.
I asked you.
Witchmark is the title. Witchmark is one word. Witchmark.
One word is the mark?
I can't. Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik.
That's the sequel to the other book, The Uprooted.
Blackfish City by Sam J. Miller. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And the winner, The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal. There's already a sequel to this book out.
Oh.
Calculating Stars. The series is called Lady Astronaut. The second novel is called The Faded Sky, and it's a pretty compelling plot, I think. Basically, an asteroid lands on the
Earth,
off the coast of North America in the 50s.
Oh.
And it sets off like a big climate catastrophe, and everybody starts freaking out. And so instead of like the space race to get to the moon, it's like a space race to colonize the solar system because like Earth is dying.
Oh.
Which is true even today.
Let me just add that to my to-read list.
Okay. Well, we have it here for the collection.
Well, let me add it.
Well, we have it, is all I'm saying.
Mary Robinette Kowal has been around for a while now.
I do recognize the name.
Yes.
What would I know?
You might not know, but she wrote the Milk and Honey series, the Magic of Milk and Honey series. We have another book of hers in our collection as well. The Poppy War is the sidequel, if you will, to Mary Poppins.
Oh.
Yes.
That's not true.
They were handing out all the poppies, and then there was a Poppy War.
Don't believe that this is true. All right, so that is all for the Nebula Awards. So you can look up the Nebulas, nebula.com, and we'll be talking about the Hugos in the future. Most of the short stories are available online, and most of the books are available right here in the David A. Howe Public Library, so come check it out. All right, are you ready to talk Batman?
I am. I can't spell astronaut to save my life.
So as I mentioned at the top of the show, for Batman's 80th anniversary, they've released the 4 films in 4K Blu-ray, which you can get on disc. Or I guess, do you say Blu-ray when it's just a 4K disc? Is that a special format?
Blu-rays as far as I'm going in with physical media, I think.
I wasn't asking you to buy one. I was asking for clarification.
I'm not doing this,
anyway,
Nick.
They got a great new overhaul, and they were put in theaters. We saw them all.
You have to say theaters.
Theaters. We saw them all. Let's get into it. First, let's talk Batman 89.
All right. So we saw this at the Monarch.
No, that happened in the film.
Well, why do I have such a distinct memory of the phrase Monarch?
Anyway, Batman 89, starring Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger and Jack Nicholson, who probably wouldn't enjoy that I gave him the and slot, but...
You gave Jack Nicholson the and slot. Yeah, no, with Batman 89, you got to say him
Jack
first.
Jack Nicholson, Michael Keaton, and Kim Basinger.
Jack Nicholson with Michael Keaton.
I see. So let me tell you, I was 6 when this came out. I remember I know that I'd seen it by the time the Batman Returns came out. So I saw this as a very young child, which I questioned that, but I did.
Yeah.
And I always loved it. I loved the action figures. I had an action figure where his belt had like an elastic. No, it was like a winding thing. You could hook it and then he'd like climb up it.
Right.
I loved it. I loved all the toys. I loved the movie. And I have kept that nostalgia for this movie.
There you go.
All through the years. I went for a long time without seeing it. I probably saw it maybe, I don't know, a few times, like as like maybe a teenager. I saw it probably 5 years ago, and then I saw it in theaters. But I really felt like, I don't know, something about being on the big screen. I feel like I saw it in a totally different way. There were a lot of like little nuances, jokes, or just little things that were there that are not new, but I hadn't picked up on before. So I really enjoyed seeing it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson cracked me up.
Yeah, you were laughing
nonstop
with Jack Nicholson.
Everything Jack Nicholson did just killed me.
Yeah.
And it never has before. So I think something about the big screen and the movie looked great.
Yeah.
It really did look great.
That's true.
But like I said, I love the soundtrack. I love Keaton in the role, which is it's a weird choice. Like when you look at Keaton as Batman, it still is a weird choice.
He's not. I don't like his Bruce Wayne, but I don't think I would like anybody in that role, Bruce Wayne, because of how they write him.
Yeah, I think that's just it. You have to kind of divorce yourself from like the Batman mythos and just kind of look at this internally. Like, do all the pieces connect? Does it all make sense? And it does. Which I will come back to that feeling later in the series. But what about you? What about you, Batman 89?
It's a weird one for me.
Okay.
I mean, I like it. I must have seen this, but I definitely saw a certain movie more than this one. I didn't see this one in theaters. I don't think I watched it much at all as a kid. I remember watching it maybe at like 10 or something when we like marathoned them all, but it didn't. I enjoy it, but it definitely doesn't do as much for me as it does for some.
Okay.
So like 89 does. I guess hold it up. It's weird. It feels unbalanced in a lot of ways. Like
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how, but it's a strange movie. It's a strange movie.
I will not argue that point.
Especially to be like the first superhero movie to come after like the Superman movies too. It's just
Yeah.
it's a weird time where people are still just trying to figure out what makes a good superhero movie, and what makes a good superhero and everything. And so like Batman, he's a weird presence in this movie. I mean, he's
Yes.
fallen over. He's showing up late. He's
Yeah.
never saving anybody.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, you said it too. Like when part of the plot of the film, if you haven't seen it, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
go watch
Okay.
it. But part of the film is that the Joker kind of corners Vicky Vale in a restaurant museum.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And Batman kind of catches wind of this, and so he comes and he just like runs in and grabs her and is like, "Let's get out of here!"
Yeah.
And they just like run away.
Yeah.
which is so bizarre.
Yes, because there's Joker and a bunch of gang members, and they just killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I guess, I mean, for the general audience who's never picked up a Batman costume, maybe that comic, that doesn't mean much. But when you read like the comics and stuff, it is hard to be like, well, he would also now beat up everybody and
Right.
send them to jail.
Yeah. He's just like, "Oh,
So,
forget this.
yeah.
I'm out of here."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but yes, Jack Nicholson is funny. If that
Was there
helps.
anything that seeing it up on the big screen brought out to you?
Not too much. It looks nice. And I guess I just enjoyed Nicholson as well. I mean, it's just a fun experience now having seen this one, because the only one I had ever seen in theaters was Batman Forever. So it was nice to see, this landmark one
Okay.
on the big screen
All right.
with big sounds.
Yeah.
Have Ralph Garman, I guess, come out and be like, Batman 89 changed the landscape.
Yeah.
So was that an okay Ralph Garman impression?
Fine. Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was fine. Yeah.
All
All right. So you
yeah.
like it, but it doesn't hold a lot of childhood nostalgia for you.
That's true.
And you
Yes.
think it's overall weird.
I do think it's weird,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's Burton and things get weirder, and I end up liking it more. So I think I think you just have Burton trying to do his Burton thing, which he does with the Joker, but he's also trying to appease like the studio wanting like a big budget superhero movie,
Yeah.
which they got as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the toys were great.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
So, all right. So Batman Returns is next. Are you okay? I guess I'll take this over because Nick
Sorry.
is he's
Oh
dying.
my gosh.
If you start
Allergies.
laughing
My
like
allergies are flaring
you
up.
experience Joker gas, then I'm going to start worrying. Batman Returns is one that I've seen the most out of all these four films.
1992's Batman Returns.
And actually, I only just watched it recently, like 2 years ago for Christmas, because I like to count it as a Christmas movie. And in terms of it looking great, that this was the one. Like I thought Batman '89 looked good in whatever new restoration this is, but on the big screen, Batman Returns looked great. Looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Not so much the weird special effects scenes that definitely have been over compressed, but just like the landscape and the snow and everything. I'm like, wow, this is a good looking movie.
The only thing I'll say about that's disagreeing is that
I'll kill you. No, I'm fine.
all the imagery. I think you're so right about the imagery.
Uh-huh.
Like Catwoman, and there's so many like great frame shots. It did highlight to me just how clear it is that they're on a tiny soundstage.
Yes, they
for
are.
every single
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, when making Batman Returns, they wanted to avoid people like taking pictures and spoiling the film, so they did. They put it on a much more closed soundstage. And you pointed out they're just whenever there's anything that's outside, it's at the stairs. It's at the ice skate rink
Yeah.
at the stairs.
Yeah.
So
Every single.
yes, it definitely.
So that was a little bizarre to me that it gave it kind of a stage play feel to it.
Yeah.
Which works. I mean,
Yeah.
it works a little bit, but it was noticeable to me.
Listen, I know I said Batman '89 is weird, but this one is bananas.
Oh, it is.
And it's definitely not a Batman film, but like not a traditional Batman film.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it feels, it's just so, it feels like a fairy tale, like a modern weird fairy tale, almost like a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't feel like this like saga or superhero action movie. There's there's not a lot of action in it, but it's just such a weird movie. And I think having Batman stuff in it helps for me, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this was.
It's hard to describe.
I was not allowed to watch this.
This
As-
is the one I saw as a kid,
as
so I
a
don't know
kid.
what parental guidance I was given about this one. Because
I remember
dark.
I was excited when I saw it coming out.
Yeah.
Like everything, like Catwoman, I thought looked super cool.
Mhm.
McDonald's had a series of toys that I was
Mhm.
all into. They had cups. Remember McDonald's used to do the big
Yeah,
cups?
yeah.
There was one that was Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle dancing at the ball.
Yeah.
I wanted that cup.
Okay.
But I saw this for the first time with you.
Mm-hmm.
Not in theaters this time, but at some point we watched the first couple of Batman movies, and this was the first time that I'd seen
Fun fact, you actually weren't with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was I?
We had watched 89 together, and then I had moved to Florida.
And then I just watched it alone?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, I guess I associate it with you then.
And you texted me. Yeah.
And we did watch it. This is the one I'd seen the most recent because a few years back we
watched it for Christmas.
We watched it for Christmas, yeah. My feelings about this remain unchanged. I feel like it would probably be a stronger movie if Tim Burton had slightly less control. Like if somebody would have been like, let's maybe not have the Penguin constantly vomiting like motor oil, I think probably would have made for a little bit better movie. But I think Keaton and Pfeiffer are great in it.
Yeah.
I think like individually they're great. I think their scenes together
Mm-hmm.
are some of my favorite scenes in any movie ever. I just their chemistry and the way they like work off each other, the way they work with each other is just amazing. I mean, I love to watch it. It's just it's fascinating. Like when you're watching a movie, you know, to see that is cool. I think as like, you know, the actor, director parts of me, I watch that and I'm fascinated by those performances because I think they're so unique and it's like,
yeah.
I'm just surprised.
I think
that
Keaton is better in Batman Returns, and I read in an interview that he would like cross out lines he didn't think he needed to say in the script, and he like just kind of minimized how many actual pieces of dialogue he has, and I think that actually kind of works. Nothing against like Keaton's acting ability, but I think for this character, it works that he's less of a like, oh, I don't know how I got it from, I bought it in Japan.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
He's playing a darker role in this one, so which fits because he's supposed to be trying to relate to Selina over their darkness and their split personalities.
Well, for me,
I don't think Batman 89 Keaton can say we're the same, split right down the middle with the same pathos he does in Batman Returns.
True. I do think that it makes for a more compelling character because you also Keaton in Batman Returns. You want more, or at least I do. You know what I mean? Like you kind of wish there was more.
Well, he doesn't show up for the first 20 minutes, so that's probably makes sense there,
you
too.
wish there was more in a good way. Yeah. So I think, you know, I have an appreciation for this movie. It's not one of my favorites.
Oh.
It has some of my favorite moments every time Keaton and Pfeiffer are together. And then one of my, if not my favorite
Batman line
in any of these movies is in the end where he's just over it and like kicks Christopher Walken in the face and it's like, shut up, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it every time.
This is my favorite Batman film of these four. So it's not my favorite Batman movie, but of the original four, Returns is my favorite.
This rewatch altered my favorite. The one I've said is my favorite for a long time was probably the one that was the most difficult to watch on screen, which transitions us into
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever.
This is not your favorite anymore?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it just really didn't hold up, I think, to like the scrutiny of the big screen and all that. And especially, I've never watched the movies in the same way, like so close together as we have this time, because it was like one was on Saturday and the next was on Monday. So just a couple days apart watching these. And the transition from Batman 89 to Batman Returns is crazy.
Yes.
Even though it's still Keaton, it's still the same director, you still have some supporting cast, same.
Yeah.
The Batman Returns is not a sequel to Batman 89. I really feel that.
You mean Batman Forever? It's not a sequel.
I mean Batman Returns doesn't even feel like a sequel to Batman 89 to me.
Okay.
They feel like let's take these same characters and do a totally different thing.
Right.
It doesn't feel like part 1, part 2.
How's this connected forever?
Batman Returns to Batman Forever is like I don't even know. It's like you've gone from some like noir horror movie to like a weird cartoon.
It's like when they drive into Toontown for the first time and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Exactly. It starts pretty rough. Batman Forever, like the whole thing with the man and there's a
security guard
locks a security guard in a vault, and this guy is just like, I don't know, he wandered off a set on the Disney Channel and made it to Batman Forever, and just the whole time he's like, oh no, like that's too small for the way this man acts. Apologies if he's listening, but I don't know what Schumacher saw in that.
Batman Forever is very loud.
Yeah.
It's probably the loudest, maybe that's not true, but it's a loud film in terms of like the visuals, in terms of the sound. There's not too much quiet, thoughtful moment. Oh, I don't know. It's just it starts off loud.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid seeing this one in theaters for the first time. So in 1995, I would have been 9. That checks out.
Yeah.
And like it was like the best thing in the world. It's like this is like the best Batman movie ever. It was so cool, and probably because it was so loud, it was more action. I mean, they knew what they were doing. When people were like, Batman Returns is too dark, they're like, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Check this out.
Well,
listen to this.
So Batman and Batman Returns, of course, share Michael Keaton as Batman. You have the same Michael Gough as Alfred and, I can't remember his name, Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Those two do come over into Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. They're the only two who go the distance.
But then we have Val Kilmer maybe downing a couple of Valiums every morning before he films his scenes. Val
Kilmer. You know, I think you're the one who said he's a good Bruce Wayne, kind of an iffy Batman. Yeah. I think that's pretty true.
Well, I think it's also probably because of the writing again, because Joel Schumacher with this and Batman and Robin, he's better than Burton is at giving Batman and Bruce Wayne like a divide, an equal screen time. I think. And I think he kind of realizes like they're the same character, but they have to have like different things going on. And so like Kilmer's Bruce Wayne is dealing with some, still the emotional trauma of his parents' death, but he's also dealing with, the whole Batman persona. And it's not done 100% successfully, but it's a more compelling, I don't know, story arc than will he truly love Vicky Vale?
I think this is the most, I mean, this is not saying much, but it is the most jarring transition. Batman Returns to Batman Forever.
Sure.
But even in 1 and 2, in 89 and Batman Returns, you have a different Wayne Manor, you have a different cave, like everything's different. You get into 3, and it's so different that when Nicole Kidman's character references Catwoman, it's just like bizarre. Yeah. It feels like meta. It feels like she's not referencing someone from his past. It feels like she's referencing Batman Returns, like within the movie. You know what I mean? It's very strange. We're also introduced to Chris O'Donnell as Robin, 48-year-old Robin, coming to be adopted by Val Kilmer, who's 6 months older than him. So that's weird. Yeah. He was a little better than I remembered him being. Yeah. I thought I was a little more okay with Chris O'Donnell in these.
I used to like the concept of like an older Robin because I never thought it was cool that like Robin was just like 12 or something.
Yeah, 12 is crazy. 12 is crazy.
But yeah, this time around I'm like, it's still not great. Every now and then I'm like, it's the 90s. Yeah. He's Chris O'Donnell. Maybe he's 17. 17-year-olds looked like 40-year-olds in the 90s.
I don't like. So you have Tommy Lee Jones replacing Billy D. Williams in the role of Harvey Dent. Billy D. Williams was in Batman '89 with the prospect of becoming Two-Face. Yeah.
Whatever the opposite of Valium is, that's what Tommy Lee Jones was on.
Tommy Lee Jones is just he's acting on the same level as a security guard from the top of the movie.
It's bad.
And playing the Joker. I mean, he's not playing Two-Face at all.
It's a bad performance.
And Jim Carrey, I like Jim Carrey, but it didn't hold up as well this time either. Yeah. I felt like it was a little...
Well, when I was a kid and like Jim Carrey opens the door to the Batcave and is like, spank me. Yeah. I remember as a kid being like, he said it, but also as a kid, you don't necessarily pick on the camp, and which is why the like 60s Batman show worked, I think, for younger audiences, because kids, they pick up on camp and they treat it like it's serious. They just read it as like straight. This is maybe like a safer version, but it's still being played straight. So like as a kid, for me, Jim Carrey's making all these jokes and running through the Batcave, but he's like, for me, I was like, the Riddler's in the Batcave and blowing things up. Yeah. This is bad news. Yeah. But when you get older, you're like, oh geez, he's like pretending to be a baseball player. Yeah. He's making, as a kid, you're just more concerned about the explosions and what it means to have a bad guy in the cave. Yeah. But yeah, as an adult, you're like, oh boy, Jim Carrey is... He's doing it.
I still have a fondness for this movie. Like, it didn't make me hate this movie or anything like that. But now it's more like I like it because of, my dad and I saw. I remember like when this first came out, I was so excited. My dad and I went to see it. There was somebody sitting in front of us who talked the entire movie. It made me crazy.
Was it Tommy Lee Jones?
It wasn't. But, we had fun, and it's just always one of those movies that I love. But it did, on this one, it was garish to me, and it was...
More so than the other two films that are in the 90s. Batman Forever feels like the pinnacle of like 90s Batman.
Oh, yes.
I mean, Batman and Robin has its own problems as well, but Batman Forever just feels like you could only make this movie in 1995.
Yeah.
The look of it, the acting quality, just everything about it is like, this is the 90s Batman movie. And that doesn't necessarily age well.
Right.
So style ages well, but like just saying like, oh no, this is just, it's rough. So yeah, it
has some cool moments, like when Robin finally shows up and there's the Batmobile is destroyed, and it's like, do you want to go by what's the line?
Should I go by air or by sea? And Robin's like, why not both?
Yeah, and then they do this like 2-front assault while Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey play Battleship, which
all right,
again, some good moments, but and then here's this to me was the most shocking thing to come out of this rewatch. I left Batman and Robin kind of okay.
Yeah.
I've
Time heals all wounds.
I remember when this movie came out, I was beyond excited.
Yeah.
I was
You
crazy
were Batman beyond excited?
And I was desperate to go see it on opening night. Like I had to see it the first available day. So I went with my aunt and we watched this movie, and even as a kid, I left this being like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, all my friends.
Yeah, it just I mean, the problems that you know about Batman and Robin are absolutely there.
Yeah.
You know, it's goofy. Schwarzenegger is crazy.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger's terrible. He's as bad as Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Oh, worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
They say Schwarzenegger, Schwarzenegger made a career out of one-liners, but what they do with these one-liners are absolute. I read an article that was pointing out how bad the one line is. He says, Batman, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. And then he like freezes a dinosaur. But the Ice Age was millions of years after the dinosaurs, you stupid.
That's your biggest problem with this movie?
Yes.
All right, so here's the thing. I guess the rumor, the word on the street is that Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher, nobody likes Val Kilmer.
Schumacher says they kind of fired him. He kind of quit.
Yeah, they were just sort of like, this is not going forward.
He didn't want to be in the role, which is, I guess, apparently like why he's like, the performance is the way it is, as lifeless as it is. So,
but he has good moments as Batman. Val Kilmer does. Yeah. Anyway, George Clooney steps in, a very like ER George Clooney.
Yeah, very young.
If you've seen ER, he's essentially playing the Doug Ross character because it's just he doesn't do anything like uniquely Bruce Wayne. But here's what I'll say about it. Like I was saying with Batman '89, everything about this movie is true to itself.
That's true.
You don't have like a weird Shazam moment where it's half the time it's a kid movie and half the times like demons are killing people.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It is 100% like Joel Schumacher Batman start to finish.
Yeah, more so than Batman and Forever.
It is, but it's also a pretty smooth transition to from Batman Forever to Batman and Robin.
That's true.
Yeah, a lot of the same support. Yeah, of course, Chris O'Donnell's back. You got Alfred and Commissioner Gordon there, but the house is the same. The cave is the same. Like it feels. These are the only two to me that feel like they're really meant together.
As a kid, I watched this when it came out on VHS, and I was pretty disappointed. I remember being bored and maybe walking away at a point. But on this rewatch, I'm like, oh no, it's confident. Yeah, it's not good. It's not. I don't love this version of Batman. But the reason I say time heals all wounds is now this is just, 1997's Batman movie, and we've had 4 since, and there were 3 before this. You don't like this movie, pick one of the 8 to like.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess, look, I don't think that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Alicia Silverstone as
Alicia Silverstone was terrible.
I can confidently say that neither one of them had a single good moment.
Yeah.
Not a single frame of film that they are in is good. They are terrible.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word in that movie.
Clooney, O'Donnell, and Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman actually get decent moments. Uma Thurman knows what movie she's in.
She does. Yeah.
So, whereas the others don't. Uma Thurman performs the role a lot better than I remember. I remember hating her character.
Yeah,
now I'm
too.
like, I kind of missed her when she was gone. I was like, oh no, not more Schwarzenegger, please.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Okay, there was one thing. I'm gonna walk back what I just said about the not being a single shot with Alicia Silverstone, because there's one scene in the end where they all show up together and they come in and there's just this like silhouette of them kind of like storming this place, like and I thought that's cool because I love Batgirl, you know, which there she has the ears on and everything. Yeah. It's a cool shot, but She's really bad, and I had a huge crush on her at the time, so I don't know what like 14-year-old me was thinking. But I've always kind of hated this movie.
Yeah.
And now seeing it on the big screen with all the color and like just everything happen, having it be in the context of with Forever and everything, it's like
it is too long.
It's too long.
Yeah.
But I'll say that I wasn't bored either.
Yeah,
I wasn't
that might
like
be
tapping
true.
my foot, being like, when's this turd gonna end?
Look,
So,
I'm never just gonna put in Batman and Robin, but if I'm doing
agreed.
a Batman marathon now, I'm not gonna skip it.
Right.
Like part of me would stop at Forever in the past.
Yeah.
Now I'll just keep going because it's not as bad as time has made it out to be.
Yeah.
So I guess.
Yeah. Well, in the intro that Ralph Garman was doing, he said that now it's an interesting little cul-de-sac in like the Batman film history. And when he said that, I was like, "That's stupid. You're stupid."
Yeah.
And then we watched this movie, and I was like, "No, that is what it is. It's just this odd little
It's interesting.
thing. It's like,
and you know what?
Look what's going
when
on.
we were driving, either home from Batman Forever or to this one, you said to me, "I kind of wish Joel Schumacher had made his third movie."
Just make the
and
trilogy.
I almost like blew up on you. I swore at you. I said you were an idiot or something. I said that would have been the absolute.
I don't remember this, so I didn't take it personally.
Well, I said it would have been absolutely garbage, but I might have swore.
Yeah.
And I remember like for the next few minutes, I was like, should I just push him out of my car? But then after seeing this movie, I was like, yeah, okay. Show me what you got with the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I would totally watch Batman Unchained after that.
Who are they casting in 1999 or 2000 if they have to recast? Because that's all Schumacher did. I mean, Clooney would probably stay, but maybe not after reviews.
I think he was pretty locked in.
All right.
I think he and Chris O'Donnell were set to come back. And I read they even had talked to, or Chris O'Donnell said that they were talking about like a Robin movie and everything. So I don't know. I don't think it would have been great, but honestly, to have like a Schumacher trilogy would be kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And all they said about Batman Unchained, with they were talking Nick Cage as the Scarecrow and like Harley Quinn being in it, with the big culmination of like all the past villains
coming
together. I mean,
yeah.
I think that would have been very watchable.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sad that it never happened.
Yeah.
So it's a weird way to end the Batman rewatch and like our review of these movies, but I think for me, it helped.
Yeah.
Batman.
Look, there's that campaign to get the Snyder version of Justice League out there.
Yeah.
I would get Schumacher's third Batman movie out before I would sign that Snyder petition.
Agreed. I think the thing that was most helped by this was my feelings on Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm. The thing that was most hurt was Batman Forever.
Okay.
From the rewatch.
But your
what
favorite
about you?
now is 89 still.
Yeah, I think I got to go 89 is my favorite. Yeah.
I mean, Batman Returns is still my favorite of the four.
Yeah. And you're right with the snow and everything. The crispness of that movie was really.
Yeah.
It was
I
great
like the soundtrack in that a lot. I think it's looked and sounded great. I guess my takeaways are very. I mean, yours is that you still love Batman 89 and it cracked you up and everything. Whereas for me, that didn't happen so much. But I agree with you that Forever loses a star for me, and Batman and Robin somehow is a watchable film.
They kind of level out. It's like the yeah.
I never thought Batman and Robin would be as watchable as it was. Yeah, but there it is.
Me neither. I mean, we even were like, do we really want to go see Batman and Robin?
I know.
Like,
we almost
Yeah, if it hadn't been like all of them,
yes,
I doubt we would.
Yeah, I think except for you. If it wasn't for you, I probably would have just been like, I'm going to skip it.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
you want to watch it when we get home?
Let's do it. We do have all of the Batman movies in our collection, so you can come and check them out. We have not only these four that we've been talking about today, but of course the Chris Nolan trilogy, as well as Justice League and Suicide Squad from the latest batch. Have they confirmed that Robert Pattinson is going to be the new Batman, or is it still just like
I think it's still
front runner, but nobody's signed anything?
Also boring, dull-faced Nicholas Hoult is in the running.
Yes, okay.
And somebody else I thought I saw.
Right now, it's looking like the new Batman film, the Matt Reeves Batman film, is going to be Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah,
which I'm trying to. That seems crazy to me, but I'm trying to withhold judgment. If anything that these movies taught me,
that's exactly it. When they announced
wait
that,
and see.
I was very much like, well, I just enjoyed Batman and Robin more than I ever have. So who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah, you have the junior novelization right here on this table.
I know. It was a donation to the library, and we weren't going to add it, but I just couldn't bear to.
Yeah.
So it's just sat on my bookshelf.
The last line in it is, teamwork is never easy.
Yeah.
So.
It's true.
Same city, different worlds. All right.
Alicia Silverstone, terrible in this movie.
Yeah.
Terrible. All right. That's going to do it for our talk on the Batman film franchise as well as the Nebulas. Anything you want to add about library news?
No, just that almost now a month from now, it's going to be summer reading program.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
In the auditorium, we've got some films coming up. Our next concert is going to be June 13th. The Young Sisters are coming back. Great acoustic duo, so I hope you can check them out. That's 7 o'clock.
They are a year older than they were last year.
That's true. The slightly less young sisters. That's going to be June 13th at 7 o'clock. Eric mentioned the adult book club right now is reading Neuromancer by William Gibson. We're wrapping that up at the end of this month.
Neuromancer.
And then we'll be beginning Leviathan Wakes, the first in the Expanse series by James S.A. Corey. So I hope you can join us for those. Craft classes, lots of things going on here at the library. So check us out, davidahowlibrary.org. Yeah. Remember to rate and share the podcast wherever you can.
The more ratings and reviews we get, the higher up on, when people type in book podcast or something, the higher we go up there. So that would be great.
So if you could just take a moment to do that, that would be helpful.
If you're on your iTunes app, all you have to do is click the show and scroll down, and it just says write a quick review. You can even just hit the stars.
Bam, right there. All right, thanks for tuning in for our very long talk in the Batman film series. We will see you next week.
And Twitch, goodbye as well.
Bye, Twitch.
You want to sing it?
Goodbye,
Oh,
Twitch.
I was thinking more like goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, all right, bye.
Goodbye.